guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock. It's time for another video, and I've got something very special to you, for you guys to see today. You see, it's not very often that I get two incredible magicians and me in one room, but I'm here at the office, and both Nemed Phoenix, who, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you will know that I consider Nemed to be the greatest close-up magician of all time. We've got Nemed Phoenix, and we've got Thomas Maloney, who is really good.
He's all right.
He's okay. He's okay.
Average.
He's kind of that. Nemed, yeah, it's subjective. But no, in all seriousness, these guys are both very busy working professionals. Tom literally only got into magic like 4 years ago during the pandemic, and now works full time, making an absolute fortune, doing every type of magic. Nemed has been performing magic since the Dark Ages. He also does every single type of magic, but also now is in the process of leveling up because he has his own YouTube channel called Magician Levels Up. Magician with an N, Levels with an S. Magician Levels Up. And every week, Nemed puts videos up talking about how he's going from zero to hero, how he's going from basically a pathetic waste of space to somebody who's going to take over the entire universe, magically speaking, of course.
But mostly I do it so that I can correct your absolute lies about my skill level.
He is the greatest close-up magician of all time. You also have a Facebook page associated to that called Magicians Level Up. Thank you. And that Facebook group has been a hive of activity. It's the nicest and the most friendliest Facebook group I've ever been a part of.
Which is why you've actually been blocked from posting. Is it really?
Yes. And everyone's there just trying to support each other and help each other and level each other up. And yeah, YouTube, I've got to say, you're like 7 weeks in. He's interviewed some incredible people. He's had some great interviews on his channel. We see his journey, and things are going really well now. Like, you've lost 2 stone, you've learnt the ninja rings, kind of.
I even had to interview you once, but got past that in the end.
Well, you know, you needed the viewing figures, so you pulled in the big guns.
I'll find someone else get higher score than you eventually. It'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, following me, you had Wayne Goodman, so that's going to put butts in seats. Yeah, I'm just joking, Wayne. I'm sure Wayne's watching this. I love you, buddy. Yeah. However, I've got both of these guys in the office today. Doesn't happen very often, and so I thought what we'd do is we get them onto the channel. And I get questions, guys, all of the time about how to actually work a gig, the real secrets of gigging a close-up gig. So we're not talking about stage magic now. We're not talking about cabaret shows. We're not talking about kid shows. We're talking about close-up gigs, which is what you both do probably more often than anything else. How you work a close-up gig. There's a lot of people that are watching this channel that have never done a gig before. Their goal, their aspiration is to start doing close-up magic. And it's kind of a scary thing. I always say on this channel, doing the tricks are easy. The hard part is walking up to a bunch of strangers, having a conversation amongst themselves, and having the ability to interrupt them and make yourself sound more interesting than what it is that they're talking about, and get them to want to watch you do card tricks. That's a difficult thing to do. That's not an easy thing to do. And you can't prepare yourself for that either. It's kind of like a jumping in feet first. So I thought we'd have a bit of a real world close-up magic masterclass from Nemed and Tom. I'm going to ask them questions. I might chip in a little bit as well, but really, between the two of you, you do so many close-up jobs every year. I don't think there's many people that are as qualified as both of you guys to answer some questions that I know people have got. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. Obviously, I'll put the joke answers on your channel. And later on my channel, I'll put the real...
Yeah. I mean, if you want to know the real deal, you go to Magician Levels Up, and that's where you find out. Thank you. You go to... I almost got it wrong then. I had to correct myself as I was saying it. You go to Magician Levels Up, and Nemed's going to spill the... In all seriousness, the Mark James interview was great. Like, that was a masterclass in how to put together a show. It was fantastic. I loved it. It's probably my favourite interview you've had on the channel. But... Would it be okay, guys, if I ask you a few questions? Would that be okay? So first of all, let's talk about actually arriving at the gig, because this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. They talk about how to approach people, pocket management, what to put in your close-up case. Is there anything you can say, the one of you, about arriving at the gig, when you should arrive at the gig? Is there anything that you do before you start performing that people should be aware of that you think needs to happen at your average? Let's just talk about your average. I know every gig is a different type of thing, but they all follow a kind of similar sort of format. They're in a venue normally, whatever the venue might be. You've got to go and find the client and so on and so forth. So on your average gig, is there anything that people need to do before they start performing?
I have a weird tip that doesn't come up very often for you. If I've been driving to a gig for a couple of hours, when I get there, I sit in the car park for about 5-10 minutes first before I get out of the car. Otherwise, if I get straight out of the car, find the client and start trying to introduce myself, I'm going to be not in a conversational headspace. I'm going to gibber nonsense. So,
that's a good tip. Actually, that's a really good tip. It goes back to, you've only got one chance to make a first impression, and if you turn to that client and you just spew crap, what you guys need to understand is that client is stressed.
Yeah.
Normally, most events, the client that's there, they want everything to go really well. You are one small part of a bigger machine, and probably a very unimportant part. You're a box tick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that you take the stress out of their life, and you give them confidence that you're going to do a good job. Yeah. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, it's the same really. It's get there early. That's always the thing. Is get there early. My rule of thumb is tell the book you're going to be there with a close-up gig half an hour early, but in my head it's an hour early.
Okay.
So you get that time to do what you want to do. But then also when you go and introduce yourself to the book, you go, I'm a little bit early, but don't worry. You know what I mean? And I feel like it just looks like you're apologising for a positive, which I think just like, sorry, I'm here a little bit earlier than we agreed, but I'm here, I'm ready to go whenever you are. I'll just, and then straight after I've done them formals, naturally, I'm going to go get a drink from the bar. And that kind of like those two things, like get a drink for later, and also I'm getting to know the staff, but without having to intrude on the staff. I am the magician, because I have to leave my drink here, and then the staff just know who you are. And kind of, that's my first thing I kind of do: introduce myself to the booker, ask if everything's going well, just flatter them with kindness, apologise for being too early, go get a drink from the bar, introduce myself to the staff, and then it's just a waiting game.
Is there anything else that you need to do before you start performing? Like, one thing I do, and I don't know if it's just me being anal, it might be, but I like to speak to, if it's table magic and there's lots of tables, I like to speak to whoever the person is in charge of that venue and find out what the order of service is, so that, because obviously if you've got to get around every table, it's fairly important to know where they're starting service from, where they're finishing, because you can always be performing somewhere if you know where they're laying the food down. Would you guys say that's important?
Yeah, it's very handy. Always do that. Check the table order. They even stick to it sometimes.
but not all the time. Anything else? Anything else either one of you can say about when you arrive at the gig? Like, do you go in fully loaded? So do you go in with the stuff in your pockets? How do you choose what you're going to do at that gig? Like, how does that all work?
Okay, it's a fair balance there, because I have to. I like to look like they're getting value for money, so I don't want to just walk in on my own and nothing. So I do take the case in with me, but I pretty much get everything that I'm going to use loaded in the pockets anyway. There's little B material that I can come back to if I want to in the case. Put the case somewhere safe so that I know it's there, but it looks like I've got something with me and just some bloke.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. It just adds that little bit of professionalism, and that you're not just a bloke just coming with a deck of cards. But also, I'm already loaded up from the car, just because sometimes you see the booker, it's like, oh, show me your trick. I just want to be fully prepared for that. I don't know what sort of trick I'm going to do to them, so I want to be ready with my A set just in case I stumble across the booker and they go, oh, show us a trick then. Or you could get in there and the booker's like, yeah, we're glad you're here. Can you start now? And then you go, yes, and you're just prepared for that.
Okay.
Plus, my current case advertises alakazammagic.co.uk.
There you go. Absolutely. So here's a question for you: how much magic do you have? Do you change? Let's say that you're doing a gig where it's drinks reception first of all for 45 minutes, and then you're going around the tables. Do you change the material between the drinks reception and the table magic? If you do, when does that happen? If you don't, why not? And how much material do you take? Because we've all seen those performers. We're not going to name names. We've all seen those performers that go out and do the same 3 tricks regardless. And we've all been in that scenario where, I've worked with people in the past and they've done mix and mingle, and then going in to do table magic, they've said, "Oh, can you do those tables because I've already done my tricks?" Like, how important is it to have an eclectic range of material, but not go ridiculously overboard?
Yeah, somebody once, I'm sure it's a Vernon quote, gave us the whole, you just need 6 tricks to be a magician, so that you do great, and people have taken advantage of that for far too long to just be lazy and not have a repertoire. You can learn more than 6 tricks in a career, it turns out.
You hear it on tables though. I don't know if you get this, but I hear it on tables like, "Oh, he did this one to me. Oh, we did this one," and they talk. They talk, and it's it's like the same. Oh, that was a different one. When you go back, and you also get them comments like, "Oh, have you got any other tricks?" As if like they think you might not have any tricks. So customers do know. They do know that there's magicians that go around with the same material.
And as to your question, yeah, in the early days, I didn't necessarily separate the 2 sets of material out, and that was a mistake, because I would do my coin routine for a couple of groups in the drink reception, and then I wouldn't remember who I'd done that for when they all sat down. So I very much separate them now. I switch my pockets around when I know they're sitting down for the meal, and have walk around magic specifically for the cocktail section.
And do you do the same?
It depends. What I'll do, I'll put my tricks in my pocket, and it depends on what I'm feeling, the vibe. But I rarely go back to my case, only if there is an interval that they're going to tell me about, because I don't want to be seen at my case when I'm meant to be working, because it only takes that booker to look over at you once, you doing nothing, and in my head, that's what you've been doing all evening. So if there's like you said, there's a changeover, like going from one room to another, then I'll use the opportunity to change up. But if there isn't, I'm not going to make that opportunity for myself, because I don't want that glimpse of a booker going, why is that magician I'm paying for over there?
Well, you know in advance whether they're going to be going in the room, so I'm prepared for that. And even then, the stuff that's going to be switched over is very simple and ready to go. So a couple of minutes transition.
Perfect. So, next question. You're doing walk around magic, first of all. Okay? So people are coming into the room, they're coming up in, first a couple of people come in, then another couple of people. So a couple of questions. When do you start performing? Because sometimes, or a lot of the time when you're doing drinks reception, 2 people will walk in, and then there'll be like nobody for a couple of minutes. But you're kind of thinking, well, 2 people are here now, I should really start performing, but it seems weird to just do. So like, when do you have a set rule as to when you start performing, how many people need to be in the room? Or do you just like pounce on the first group that come in?
Once the first group come in, and they've got to get a drink. They've got to get a drink, and they've got to get their hellos out of the way and be at least settled into the room, or the clock's turned 5 minutes after when I've arrived. The gig's supposed to be working, in which case, tough. I'm going in.
Makes sense.
Because these people probably haven't seen each other for a while, so you've got to at least let them say hello, at least get a drink, and then go and enhance their conversation, kind of thing. I think if you just pounce them straight away, it's like, hang on, do you know what I mean? It just feels a bit like, who are you? But if you go up after they've like settled for like a few minutes, then do it. Because a lot of the gigs I go to, they're getting a drink from, like they get a glass of champagne or something, and then when they're walking in, you don't want to get in way of the caterer's way or anything like that. You want to, they've got a drink, they have the chat, they've introduced themselves, then you go up. Don't pounce.
Good advice. Now here's the big question. Walk around magic, how do you approach the group? What is your first trick? Are there any rules that you have in place that should dictate what that first trick should be? What factors are important when doing walk around magic in terms of the magic that you're performing?
Okay, circle the room, find a friendly looking group with an opening that's not wrapped into a circle. Approach that gap. Do your introductory lines, which mine are far too well polished to give to you. They are surgical. And get into any group, no matter how sour they look when I arrive, my lines will get them at least, let me show them something.
Yeah, I've seen you work.
And then the first trick I do is Chicago opener, a Red Hot Mama, but I do it as if one of the circle is doing the trick. I'm like, you're going to be my warm-up act. So all of you guys, he's the magician right now. Don't give me any crap.
And is it always the same trick that you do first of all, or do you vary up the opener? Do you have multiple openers depending, or is it all? Yes, you do.
I like to vary a lot, but I do use the Chicago opener a lot because I like the idea of somebody else being the magician and my warm-up act, and I go, yeah, great, but now they need to know that I'm the magician, so I'm going to get serious. And
how long, and I'm going to ask you these questions as well, by the way, but while we're on the subject, how long do you spend with each group? Is there a because that's a question that comes up all the time. If you've got like a load of people there and you've got to get round everybody, spending loads of time with one group is going to make things very difficult to get around everyone. But likewise, you don't want to just go in and go, look, haha, see you later. Like, where are you with that?
We're talking specifically about a walk around.
Yeah, I'm going to go on to table magic later on.
If it's just a walk around gig, we're not doing table magic. I'll probably do 5-6 tricks maximum, if they're still liking it by that point.
Okay, what about if you're going into table magic later on?
Yeah, then just 2 or 3 tricks probably. A card trick, a coin trick, something else.
Okay.
Tell them I'll see them at the tables later.
Okay. Okay.
Variety, important.
And how? Okay, actually, I'm going to ask you that question in a minute. Same question as to you. What?
So I'll approach the group and go, "Hi, my name's Tom. I've been booked to entertain you. Don't worry, I'm not trying to flog you a carnation. I'm not going to cost you a penny." So that kind of like breaks the ice, because some people think, like, depending on what the gig is, not necessarily weddings, but people think, "I'm going to have to pay for this." Do you know what I mean? Am I going to put my hand out after? Because that's what people sometimes think of magicians, is they're going to want something at the end of this. So I take that one off. I've introduced myself, asked what their name is, and then I'll. John Morton taught this line in one of his lectures, and he says, and my thing is, would you like to see a boring card trick or something weird? Everybody always says weird, and then I go into a coin trick, a witch hand trick, or a quick ESP trick, and then once they've done that, they're like, "Oh, if this is good," and then I go, "Do you want to see that boring card trick now?" And at that point, I do a flourish, and they go, "Oh, okay, this isn't going to be boring," and then I go into Chicago Opener.
Oh, brilliant! So you both do Chicago Opener.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very, very interesting.
It's right in the name.
Yeah.
Right there in the name.
And just making, especially if there's a kid there, you turn that little kid into a magician, and you can just manufacture them claps and things which everybody else thinks is for the kid.
I've never thought about doing Chicago Opener as an opener in the walk around set. So it's kind of interesting that you both do. Maybe I'm missing a trick. It's
strong effect. One of the first things you learn, and it's one of the ones that never goes out of your repertoire.
Yeah, it is. It is.
To answer your actual original question about timing, you remember how you have your Sankey Sanders scale of creation? Well,
yes.
I have a 1 trick to Craig Petty level of walk around magic. If you do a gig with Craig Petty, you don't have this initial problem because 20 people will walk in, and he'll take all 20 in one group and perform to them until the last one of their eyes is glazed over while you try and find the scraps.
He's not wrong. I do tend to turn a walk around gig into a parlour show. I like to try and get everybody over. Come on over, come. See, I like to stop people as that. So if I'm performing to 3 people, my goal is to make those 3 people 20 people by the end of the performance. Almost like street magic type thing.
My goal is to spread those 20 people out for an hour.
Well, it depends how many it is. If it's a big corporate do or a big wedding, you've just got to power and get as many people boxed off as possible, because it only takes 2 people say to the book, "Oh, we didn't do the magic," and then it sounds like you didn't do your job. But with timings, you just got to time it on the numbers, how interested they are, because some people just generally don't like magic, so you just do your solid stuff and go, "If you want to see someone, give me a shout. I'm here till whatever time." So it's very. Yeah, it's up and down. Whatever.
Good advice. Good advice. So, how important is it to get so are people reacting important in a close-up job? And if they are, how do you go and get those reactions? Because I've been at gigs with both of you, and your table's always like, "Oh, whoa, yeah."
Mine's manufactured. I manufacture it.
So interesting. Okay, so do you? Because I remember watching a lecture once by Harry Robson, who said he hates it when people manufacture applause at tables, and I remember thinking, really? Okay. What was it? Harry Robson? I think it was Harry Robson. It might not be, but so first of all, you know, what's your approach towards that?
Reactions matter on a scale. I think if you've got a vast venue with 100 tables, the booker needs to be hearing people all around the room going, "Ah," and then I'll manufacture something at the end to make sure that they get that. A small wedding, doesn't really matter if people are going to talk about you afterwards. I manufacture applause in large groups, and when I'm working with you, so that you think I'm better than I am. Mostly I say, I normally ask for applause at this point. I don't normally force it on you, but that guy's my boss. I just want to do better applause than him. Just to annoy him.
That's your secret, right? Fair enough. What about yourself, Tom?
I manufacture it a bit more crafty, really, than that. I'm not as bold with it as that. I was just saying, clap. So you do a trick, like the first phase of Chicago opener. You'll get a little bit of a clap, and I go, and I go, okay, now you're going to be the legend. Now you're going to be the magician, and promise me they're going to go crazy for you. And if it's a kid, they've got to be evil not to clap for this kid.
Yeah.
So then they do the magic then with the wave and whatever. Bang! Oh no! Oh my God! You've done it better than me. Give this kid a massive, or give this woman or whatever a massive round, and everybody just does, because it's not for me, it's for them. But then the booker thinks it's for me, so it's great. And it's a similar sort of thing with most of the other tricks.
You and I have a different approach to kids at tables at an event for adults. If I see a kid, I'll go, excellent, that's the way to open. I'll walk up with sponge balls, do sponge balls on the kid, and then hold the kid by the shoulders, move it out of the way while saying, now that I've used this child to get your attention.
Well, if I see a kid, toxic plus works great, because when you're doing the dirty thing, you get the kid to do it, and you go, oh my God, what are we going to do with that one? And then you do it, and then everyone goes crazy for the kids, because it's like you came up with the last number. It's great.
That would be great, but I'm not drawing the cult of apple for one trick.
It's a good trick. This is not a topic to discuss right now. Okay, so next question. How do you deal with people? You're in a walk-around situation. You're talking about Chicago Opener. That involves people holding cards and so on and so forth, predictions going down, but you haven't got a table. It's walk-around. And people are holding drinks and canapes. How do you deal with that?
Most people have one hand free, or at least someone in the group has one hand free, and nothing that I do in my act, walk-around, would require more than that, I don't think. You think? No, not unless I'm cracking out their Orphic wallet to do a peek. It doesn't happen very often. I only do that once or twice a gig.
Okay.
If it was Chicago Opener, it's going to be Chicago Opener. But if it's Chicago Opener, I just toss the card on the floor and I say to the person, if you can do this trick, I'm going to let you keep that card as a souvenir. Don't worry, it helps with my tax return. Or if there's a kid, I'll go, have you ever seen Karate Kid now? Do this. You stand on the card. Or I'm just as bold enough to go, put it in the top pocket and go, if you, yeah. But so you can't guarantee that, because it's the first time they've had that suit, and you're like, it's not going in their new suit.
Chicago Opener specifically, I use their hand because it goes somewhere far away. It's practical.
Okay.
Yeah, because by saying you can have it as a gift is like highlighting it as like it's there, but I don't want you to know it's there without saying we'll come back to that later.
When I do my coin routine, that's all one hand.
See, I like to have people have two hands, and so I always pick on somebody that looks like they're having fun, and I use this line that always breaks the ice at the very beginning. I say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you give your drink to somebody that you trust? However they act, that's a funny moment for the rest of the group. A lot of the time they'll go to their partner or something, and they'll go, which is funny. If they go, whatever they respond to that, it's a funny moment.
It's good to know that there's 20 odd lines of mine you've stolen over the years. I've stolen one of yours and didn't realise it.
There you go. Well, they're welcome. I steal all of Nemed's lines because he does the best lines. Anyway, so you guys don't really worry too much about the fact that people are holding things and so on and so forth.
Well, when I introduce myself, I say, well, who would like to see something weird? Oh, you'd like to see something weird? Okay, if you free up your hands, and then they'll just sort that problem out for you anyway.
Okay.
Just ask them to sort the problem out.
So next question, and this is one that's been debated to death. Pocket management. Like, I have been to gigs where people have been relatively new into magic, and they have got literally every single trick that they've ever bought crammed into, and you see them and they're like, hang on, I'm going to show you a trick. No, and they end up doing a completely different trick they were going to think they were going to do because they just have so much crap on them. And I've seen people remember Russell used to wear a holster under his jacket and looked like Magnum PI without the moustache. It's like, country time. What's your approach towards pocket management? Like, how much stuff do you take? How do you keep it organized so you know exactly where you're getting? Especially if you're working new material in as well. Like, if you've got something new, do you take something out to put that new thing in? How does that all work?
Painstakingly, yeah. Everything that I use on a regular basis has its specific place that's automatic now. I know exactly where everything is. Ideally, if I'm adding in something new, it's not going to take up more than one pocket. I can use one of the outer jacket pockets to keep it in. They're the only ones that are really free. If I add anything more complicated than that, tends to be a bit of a struggle for a gig or two.
Okay.
Yeah, but one trick per pocket, if that, and then I have a designated pocket for a new trick or a gaff deck, which I bring in. So I always have, for some reason, this jacket pocket is my new material / gaff deck pocket, because I have a boss that brings out a lot of gaff decks. So
Just use those.
I say I do.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So right. Pocket management then is not an issue for you guys at all.
Mm.
Is there something that you have in your walk around repertoire that if you didn't have it with you, you'd be going, "Oh my God, this is bad." Like, there's loads of stuff that if you didn't have it, you'd go, it's not really much of a problem. I'll just throw something in. But is there, like, so for me, it's Keymaster. You both gigged with me. You know I have Keymaster with me. I really freak out if I haven't got Keymaster. It's like my favourite trick to do in a walk, because it involves a couple of people. I don't need a table. It's quick. It's different. I've done it a million times. It's my 1,000 timer. Is there something like that you guys have that if you didn't have it, you'd be like...
In table magic, yes. If I get to a table, I don't have my coin set up, ready to do my coin routine. I'm gutted. Walk around slightly more boring. I probably think I've forgotten the most, and is the most annoying at the time, is the Sharpie.
Yeah. Then that just like when for some of the tricks I do, if I've not got a Sharpie, I just know things are going to be weaker. Do you know what I mean? It's like you kid yourself because people just think he's got loads of them, so you just need that Sharpie. And I'd say at the moment I'm lost without Nightshade, like that coin set. So yeah, because that's nice. And forks. I'm really into forks at the moment. If I've not got forks, I just know that really enhances anything I do.
You both use forks. Yeah. It's interesting, the crossover. I know you use Nightshade. You use Nightshade. You both talked about Chicago Opener. You both do liquid metal. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's just it's different. It's different, and it's the best impossible gift is a fork, isn't it? Really.
And the things that magicians don't want to admit to themselves is there are very much two different types of magic: magic for magicians and magic for audiences. And the magic for audiences is a narrow band of tricks.
Yeah.
And we know what they are because we've been doing them for years.
Yeah.
There's some tricks that you won't do because they've just been done to death. Like, as you know, because I've gigged with you, I just don't do double cross because the amount of gigs that I go to where I say, hold your hand out, they go, is there going to be an X up here? That's why I also don't do Omni Deck for that exact same reason. Like, so many people go, he turned a glass plate. I just don't want to be the magician that does the same tricks as someone else. Is there anything that you have that you would, or is there something you wouldn't do because it's so done to death?
Okay, I've got several answers for that. I will not do extreme burn. I'm sick to death of extreme burn. Same goes for double cross. But Omni Deck is an odd one. I do Omni Deck because people know it so much. I find that every single time someone in the audience tells me about having seen that trick, they're telling me when the Omni Deck is already in their hand. So for me, it's a bonus. I'm like, that sounds interesting. Let's try that instead.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very, very cool. What about yourself, Tom?
Sponge balls. I try and do sponge balls, but it just gets mentioned so many times where this guy did this and they all do it, and it's like I'll like listen to my audience of what they've seen before. We had a magician. Was he? And he goes, yeah. You made this happen, and that comes up a lot. Yeah. Even though it's a sponge ball moment, it's great, and I do have them in my case for kids and whatever, and if I need something else. But I just feel like I'm just not as in love with it as a lot of magicians are.
Yeah.
Just because it's very cliche. What I mean?
One more question, and then we'll move on to table magic, which is, what do you do? You're performing to a group of people. You're about to get to the climax of your trick, and a lady comes round with a big tray of canapes and literally just goes, "Here, want a canapé?" And like literally everyone's like, yeah. How do you deal with that situation where you've crafted everything building up to this one particular moment? You're about to do that, and it kind of almost deflates everything. Now you've got to get everyone's. Do you carry on? Do you wait? In which case they could have thought that you've switched something in while everybody wasn't looking. Like, how do you deal with a scenario like that?
A fairly effective way of doing it. Make a joke out of it. I say, as she's arriving, I'll go, I'll freeze, physically freeze in the comic pose, and go, don't worry, folks. I know where I stand in the level of entertainment versus food. I can wait.
That's a great line.
And then as she's walking off, and just out of earshot, so I don't get into trouble, I add, Dynamo doesn't have to put up with this shit. Which gets them back on side and laughing, and I can just carry on the trick.
That's great. What about yourself, Tom?
To be honest, I don't come across it all that much because you navigate the room right and you've spoken to the catering staff anyway. But if it does happen,
Continue.
well, saying that, yeah.
You can't like plan for when somebody's coming over and walk around. You can on tables. But,
No,
the people that are
Oh,
walking
we're
around
talking
with...
about tables, but like when you get into the room, you know.
No, we're not talking about tables. We're
talking
talking about walk around magic.
Oh, walk around
So,
magic.
you know, like when you're doing walk around and there's people coming around with trays of canapes and
Yeah.
do you want to fill your drink up and it's walk around. They're just like, their job is to walk around with a tray and just offer it to people. So you can't really guarantee.
Remind me who this is again.
I don't know.
Alex Foden off Wish.
I learned how to turn 2 cards over at once and turn it into a career.
Whoa! Yes, mate. That was...
That's it. That's as much as my level goes.
You need to level up. Magician levels up. YouTube.
He's blocked as well.
Oh, I think
Am I?
I'm not surprised.
That's why he's not being answered from VR messages. Okay. No, I'd just let's make a gag out of it. Yeah, to make a gag out of it, if you can, just go, put the cards in the middle of the table, ready when you are. Go back to it. If it's weaker, it's weaker. But then just go on with another trick to make it go again. You know what I mean? So,
as Tom seems to want to talk about tables, let's move on.
Oh,
to
sorry,
tables.
tables
It's okay.
again.
It's okay.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
I
okay.
can't understand the rush, to be honest. It's bloody hot in here.
It is warm.
What's with this
Yes,
room?
What do you
yes.
wear the jacket for?
We're sweating. We're sweating.
Okay.
Let's talk about table. Let's talk about table
We're
magic.
talking
shall we?
about strolling.
No, we've just done that, and you were
And sleep. Moving on.
table magic. Right. Let's talk about table magic. How do you approach the table? How, like, let's talk about banquet style tables where you've got 10 people all around. Because we've both seen this. We've all seen this, where you see that magician who walks up to the table, doesn't command the table at all, makes no impact on the table, and ends up twisting the aces to the one person who's half paying attention while everyone else is tweeting about how shit the magic is.
That's the trick that I don't like. That people do.
Didn't ask the question, but thanks for sharing.
No,
I appreciate
you
that.
said it earlier. Just,
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, which is the one that everybody does that you just don't like doing, and it's like that's
Twisting the aces.
nobody cares.
I've got a really good version in my book. You don't care. First of all, to you, Nem, big tables, banquet tables, you're walking up. How do you grab the attention of everyone on the table? How do you get them to pay attention to you? Go.
Walk up, find the gap. The right gap is an interesting topic, I suppose. Never really thought about it scientifically, so it's kind of instinctive. There's obviously a physical gap, and trying to find the one that's the best. If you've got some sort of annoying centerpiece on the table, and I'm going to be using the people on either side of me for tricks, so I want to get the right people. And then I go into my speech nice and loud and clear that I do, which gets everyone's attention. I see,
Project the whole...
as I get through what I'm saying, I see every single face change slowly from to, all right. I promise them by the end they'll be yeah. Again, too good speech.
I do love David Penn. Have you ever seen that line that David Penn teaches? It's very, very good. He walks over, if there's no gap or if there isn't really much of a physical gap, he walks over to where he wants to stand and he says, hey, can you go that way slightly? Can you go that way slightly? That way everyone's going to get a chance to see. And it's like, it's impossible to not go, no. Because like then you're being an arsehole to everyone else on the table. Very good line by David Penn there. Okay, so you just literally walk up and you just do it. What about grabbing the attention of the whole of the table then? Because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And I know that, does it help being a stage performer? Because obviously you perform on stage for a lot. Because it's not like a walk-around gig. You have to get everybody's attention.
Yeah, acting training, stage performing and kid shows all help with that. But also just saying your first line nice and loud, and then pausing and waiting and looking at them till they shut up.
Yeah, eye contact with everybody is that important.
Yeah, look right at them after you've introduced yourself and wait with confidence. You are going to stop talking. And then I get out my self-deprecating lines to get them on side as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's always the best way, isn't it? You know, to make a joke out yourself.
My opening line is usually, "Hi there, sorry to interrupt, but that is literally my job. I'm here to magician. It's not my fault. I didn't book me."
Well, actually, that's a very interesting thing. I love that line. I've heard you say it a million times. It's not my fault. That whole thing, I've seen it kill. My opening line a lot of the time is, "Hey, my name's Craig. Is this the fun group?"
Yeah.
Which is a great line, because it immediately goes, is this a fun group? Because they're going to go, yeah, we are. In which case, they go, brilliant. I've been looking for you. And if they go, no, you go, oh, well, maybe we can change that. Either way, it forces them to interact with me, and they're probably wondering, that's kind of a weird question. So I do like using that line. What do you use as an opener?
Well, when I walk up to the table, there's normally a gap anyway, isn't there? You don't have to make a gap. So if I'm in the gap here and then the camera over there, that's the other person at the event table, I'll talk to them, then just like this. So I'm not going up to the person here, I'm talking to the whole table by talking to that person over there. And I go, "Hi, my name's Tom, I'm the magician. I've heard this is where the cool kids all hang out. Is that true?" And then they were like, "Oh, yeah, we are." And then it's stolen from you, basically. And then if they don't say, "No, they're not the cool kids," okay, we can change that. You're all going to be stars. You know what I mean? And then I was going into the same old shit.
Okay. And how do you both deal with, you first, Tom, how do you both deal with that person on the table who just fucking hates magic, doesn't want you to be there, and is rude enough to just blatantly not even get eye contact with you, a lot of the time tweeting on their phone or doing something on their phone? Everyone else is having a great time, but that person who's just dead to you, do you interrupt? Do you point it out? Do you just let them do their thing? How do you deal with that, both of you? Tom?
I just let them do their thing, but then also they just start to warm up to it anyway. Maybe throw a few like light-hearted gags over there, going, "Oh no, magic's not for everyone. You ever seen a magician before?" You know what I mean? And then if it is just because you don't know if they're just like shy and don't want to be involved, which some people just don't like magic, let them not like magic. But normally towards the end of it, they've joined in because they've realised you're not one of them magicians.
I don't agree with this whole "don't let them like magic" thing. They're my favourites. They're the ones I want to get on side by the end. So I like to walk away making them like magic. So yeah, it's a rare situation, to be honest. The actual complete ignoring on the phone is very, very rare these days. But when it does happen, I'll make a gag of it, throw away, so they can continue to do it, and I've acknowledged that it's happening. I'll go, "You guys are going to love this," and you can text it to him later.
I've got a very similar line. I say, "Hey, are you tweeting about how good the magician is? Hashtag magic was awesome." You know, that kind of thing. That just acknowledging it. I do love that. Yeah. Okay.
But I do try to get them.
I also think just by saying I've been booked to entertain you by the bride and groom or whoever, a lot of people just feel like, do you know what I mean? So.
And as a brief call back at the end, just to see if I get the applause out of them as well. I go, "And this last trick, once it finishes, we're going to get the big round of applause from you, and you can give me like an eyebrow raise, something like that, just some sort of acknowledgement that you're there."
That's where Toxic Plus comes in. It's like, okay, now let's do a trick with the phone. Do you know what I mean? So.
Okay, I love that. Actually, yeah. Okay, so here's the question. Next question: how do you deal with the alpha male? The guy that you walk up and he's trying to be the star of the show. He's making all of the funny jokes because he doesn't like not being the center of attention. He wants to be the entertainer on the table. Not necessarily the guy that you walk up and he goes, "Oh, can you make yourself disappear?" Not that type of guy, but just the guy that's wanting to show that he is as funny as you are. And so, every couple of seconds, he's throwing a wisecrack into everything you're doing and saying.
Honestly, I let them, and I use it. I run with it and use the jokes and move on. That can be quite funny sometimes. It can work. I'll use them for a trick, make sure they are the centre of attention. And if they are exceptionally annoying, I used to use all crappy heckle stoppers years ago, but bizarrely, that one I just did on you, I did in illusions once, and it works every single time in every single situation. So I want every kind of person. So I just do it, and I don't know why it always works, but I get to laugh and they shut up and just go and sleep. Anyway.
But like, so you're just letting it get on with it. Okay. What do you do the same?
You've got to be funny to do that.
Yeah.
Try and convert them by making them the legend to go, "Actually, do you know what?" Again, that's where Chicago was go for. you're not into this, are you? So why don't I teach you a trick? And I'm like, all right, and then by doing that, I say I'm going to perform it to you once, and then if you're impressed, I'm going to leave you a bit of the position. You can be the legend. And they kind of go, okay, let's play along then.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't think about that, but I do the Chicago opening with them. Usually I go, you're the one with the least impressed looking face so far, so we'll start with you.
Yeah, and just to avoid anything that is a bit risky with them, because that's not the point where I'm going to try and do anything. And
later, if they've been really, really annoying, I will do the world's hardest rubber band on them as a personality profiling trick.
Rubber bands, that's what girls can't get into.
Well, that's just wrong. That's just mental.
Yes, rubber bands are awesome. Okay, so next question. How long do you spend on a table? And do you vary the setup from table to table?
I vary the sets. I have 3 different table sets, but they are strict table sets, and I stick to them. And they are variable between 8 and 12 minutes. I think I'd guess. I'm terrible on timings, but yeah, the main one that I use would be 6 tricks. I always have something set up at the beginning for the end as well, to give them a call back at the end, something to wait for.
Okay. What about you, Tom?
I'd say it depends on the size of the tables, the size of the rooms, but yeah, from like about 8 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, or depends how far I've got to go around. But my set generally is anything I've just done walk around, I'm not doing at the tables because I learned that quickly by going, oh, we've seen this one. You just don't remember the faces, and it all gets shuffled up. But also just try and make every table, if you can, have something a little bit different, so it feels like, even if you just mix it up in a different, add a different paint to it, because it needs to be different. It needs to, like when I go up to the table, it's not close up to me. It's like I try and turn it into like a mini parlour. This is my bit of the stage performance you all. So.
Also on tables specifically, I have a very, very strict 1 card trick rule. I like a lot of variety in table routines. One of my main ones is chop cup and coins and then forks and then ropes and cards. 1 card trick.
I know that any card is a big thing for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Sanders any card is my favourite closer by far.
Mine blocks is great for a whole table.
What's your favourite closer?
My favourite closer
on a big table.
My favourite closer. It used to be my favourite used to be Toxic Plus, because that's great. Everyone gets their phones out, then they got their phones out, and they go, oh, let's have some pictures and stuff like that after. Or more recently,
Atomic Deck.
Because everyone it's a perfect environment. Everybody gets their phones out again. It's it's more.
I love how when you said Atomic Deck, no interest was just like he pulled the face. Well, and it's not about Atomic Deck. I know it's not. Nemed doesn't agree with any card at any number, do you? You're not
plotting magic.
No, it's not. It's not about Atomic Deck. It's anyone's any card at any number.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm the same with any card at any number. But because of the presentation, which you have to use for Atomic Deck, that makes it interesting. You talk about statistics of this. I do a bit of a spin. I created that website. It's that website I did with Birmingham University, and every time I do a gig, we do statistics, and it really helps me with my mentalism and this sort of thing. But I've been doing it. But I normally reserve that one for the head table, because then there's times where you get the head table, but you get the other 2 tables involved.
Yeah.
So it's obviously with the way the method works, it's more chance of getting the best out
you
want.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, next question. What is your I think you answered it. What's your favourite trick to do on a big table? You said Sanders any card?
To close with, yeah. But my favourite trick is always my 3-fly routine.
Your 3-fly routine is so polished. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What's yours? What's your closer and what's your favourite trick? And is it the same thing? Oh yeah, no. Yes. Your favourite trick.
My favourite trick at the moment is just more recently is liquid forks, just because it kills. And I mix that with a card trick. I don't get them to sign it. I get them to use that as a magic wand. There's just a little gagger going, did you bring a magic wand? No. So like, come on, mine. Gets a gag. Then they're doing this, and they go, oh, I feel really bad. I'm a magician. I'm an honest magician. And we're friends, right? Can you lend me money? No, I'm joking. Friends shouldn't lie to each other. That, and you clock that straight away, that is not a magic wand. It's actually a spoon. And then they'll laugh, I go, oh no, I mean it's a fork. And then at that time, we've got the right misdirection, bang. People are holding their hands up, people are doing this, and you just go, is it all right if you just hide that from me, because I don't want to get into all the cable and stuff. And I walk away.
That's great. Okay, I'm almost done. I've got another question though. How important is character? People talk about character all the time, and you're performing character, mainly on stage. But is it important for a close-up magician to have a performing character? How would you describe your performing character? How would you describe Tom's? How would you describe mine? Like, and is it important, or is it not important? Is it not important because you're just going up and doing a couple of tricks and leaving? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I don't think it's vastly important to have a character, but you have to be the heightened form of yourself. And I do kind of do a character these days because I've become Mr. Positivity and Light in real life. But I use my old personality as a character on stage and in close up, very snarky and sarcastic, and done with it.
We're just about to do a drive. I will be in your car.
Nemed and Tom's car. Mine's clean.
See, mine's not.
Mine's newly clean, and that's not getting it.
If I did a 2-hour car journey with you, would you still be Mr. Positivity?
30 seconds it normally takes to irritate the crap out of me.
Yeah.
He falls asleep anyway.
There are limits to positivity.
He just falls asleep.
There are limits. When he starts randomly singing, I'm out.
It's good singing. Okay. So performing character, you do play the character of somebody who's really
magic.
What about yourself, Tom?
Just myself heightened to 11. Really, you've just got to be
So it's like an
the
average
life
6,
of
yeah.
the party. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be. You can't go in there and you're there to elevate it and add the wow factor. So you just got to be yourself on the best day that you yourself can be. Turn up to 11.
Good advice. What about when you leave? What about, right, okay, so we'll talk about leaving the gig now. So let me paint you a scenario. You are doing a 2-hour gig, you've reached the end of the 2 hours, there's still 2 tables to go. Do you fuck those tables off and just go and say thanks to the clients?
Technical term. Yeah.
Or do you stick around and go the extra mile and try and finish those 2 tables? What do you do?
They're terrible giggles. No. Always do the table. Make sure you get them finished. But yeah, resent it obviously.
Yeah.
That hate rot your soul. But do the
And
table.
it suddenly becomes a 1-trick table.
Oh, yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, go perform to them. Say goodbye to the booker. When I get people to sign cards anyway, I get them to write a message to the bride and groom or the booker. So then I go, oh, I've got a little bit of a guest book for you, possibly do another trick for them before I leave. But that's my way of saying goodbye. Oh, I've got this for you. It's a nice upsell.
And is there anything you do when you leave, or do you just get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as you can?
Usually try and do a last trip for the client. They've not done for anyone else. Usually Norfolk Peak, something like that. I've really like them. The Oracle system. This is lighting's a good.
Do the Oracle system?
When my glasses are clean, yeah.
What about yourself, Tom?
I perform to. I definitely perform to the booker or the bride and groom the first time they're there, but I'm prepared to show them another one before I leave. But sometimes when you're leaving, it's normally just like at the speeches or whatever, or it's just not convenient. But be prepared to show them another trick before you go. But whatever happens, they're getting that deck of cards. So.
And one other question. This is really more for you, Tom, because I don't think Nemed does this at all. But it's a question that comes up on my channel an awful lot.
Washes his hair.
No. How do you get?
His channel, is it?
How do you get video and photos at gigs? Because if anybody follows Tom on Instagram, Thomas Mullen the Magician, you'll see that he's constantly putting pictures up and videos up of himself at gigs. Whilst most magicians will literally just have a selfie.
Well, if I see somebody video me and I clock that it's an iPhone, airdrop, that's why I bought an iPhone originally, because it's like, boop, done. If not, I'll do a quick video of before I'm leaving, it'll be buzzing. Before I leave, I'll introduce myself to a photographer and ask him to add me on Instagram, because I always find you can't get away from me now. I know you exist and I know where you are. So they seem a bit more inclined to send them over. And also, that photographer is going to be showing off these photos on his Instagram anyway.
Yeah.
So it's in his best interest. If not, I just say, oh, I tag myself in them. So yeah, no, it's that's how I get them. Just if I clock somebody with With an iPhone, I'll just say, "Do you mind if I share them with me?" With an iPhone, it's literally just like, "Oh yeah, just fine, Tom iPhone, no, thank you," and then it just because before when I was using other phones, it was just like, "Oh, can you just send it to?" Text it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With iPhone, just boop, done. And then when I get home, I make them all into a nice little reel, fluff it out a bit, make it look better, cut all the flashes out of it, make myself look even better.
It's a hard job, but someone's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Final question. And guys, this has been amazing. Nemed's falling asleep.
I mean, you said the final question about 6 times now. I want that feral dog moved out the way, the door unlocked, him sent back to Timo, and on our way to Tricks, please.
The very final question. If you have one piece of advice for somebody who's about to start gigging, close-up gigs, one piece of advice, both of you, to finish this video off, what you got? You first, then.
What was the question again? I wasn't really listening.
One piece of advice, one final piece of advice for somebody watching.
Don't do it if you don't find it fun. Don't become one of those irritating podcast magicians constantly whining about how much they hate close-up gigs. And, we hide in the toilets, we don't like it, it's rubbish. It's just either enjoy it and be good at it, or jump in boxes, whatever. Tom?
Shots fired by Nemed Phoenix. Oh, you're going to get red light, green light your ass off if you're not careful.
I know what you're talking about. There's no specific reference.
No specific reference at all. Okay.
Just do it. Just do it. You'll find out that you can get away with a lot more than you can in front of a mirror. And just, if you're shy, just go to the happiest table there first. Make life easier for yourself. Because I think if you go to the worst table to start off with and it's crap, I feel like it taints me a bit for the rest of the event. So start off high, and then you've got that buzz going for the next one, and then when you get to the difficult ones, you feel fearless.
I usually do that 9 times out of 10. If I'm feeling really on form and ready to go, and the group of obvious blokes that are going to be really hard work, I will do them first and get myself properly charged.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
But just do the stuff you're solid at. You've got the tricks that you need. Do the stuff that I know we're saying that we cycle through a lot of tricks, but when you're first starting out, just do them couple of solid tricks just to go right, and then you start getting like a bit of a hunger to go. Now I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and then you build on that. We're saying like, oh, I've got all this and repertoire, but start off with like your basics that Go out and do that. Don't put have them 3 tricks and then go, okay, next time I'm going to take this with me, and then build up.
Great advice. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Don't forget 2 things. 1, follow Tom on Instagram. He is Thomas Maloney Magician. And Nemed, don't follow Nemed on Instagram. You're never going to see anything. However, what you do... It's amazing.
We'll get there.
But what you do want to do is you want to go check out his YouTube channel, Magician Levels Up. Just go on YouTube, Magician Levels Up, and hit subscribe. He posts every week on a Wednesday, and you can check out his video and see what he's up to. It's part blog, part vlog, part review show, part interview show. It's basically all of the bits that you find in Magic TV condensed into one very specific video that raises you up and makes you feel good about yourself.
And it's waffle free.
But
not nonsense free.
The Facebook page is cool. There's loads of people.
Now don't forget, that's not Magician Levels Up. That's Magicians Level Up. Make sure you get it right. And you can join the most positive Facebook group in the internet. Don't expect to talk to me there because I'm banned. I can't go in. I can watch, but I can't post. It's quite sad.
We're done. Can we go?
Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Tom will answer you. Nemed will probably ignore you unless you answer on his own channel. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget there'll be another video coming up tomorrow because some YouTube channels post every single day. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
Last Saturday.
I'm Craig.
Nearly finished. Shut up.
I'm Craig. This is Tom. This is Nemed. This is Magic TV. Say bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.